Hello folks, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This week's video is special for two reasons. Number one, this is what I would consider part two of my little Froggy Valentine's card series I have going on. I do have another first part of it posted, which is just taking these frogs, and it's another Valentine card. So I'll have a link for that in the description if you want to go watch part one, I suppose, of this. But this video is also a part of a YouTube Valentine's hop I am doing with a whole bunch of other crafty folks on the platform, so I would recommend going ahead and watching their videos. There is a giveaway that is open internationally, and there's 20 videos, so I would recommend you go ahead and you follow the links that I have in the description, and you go ahead and comment on all 20 videos, and you'll be entered to win the prize. So good luck, go spread some love. So getting into this video, I have my little froggies stamped out here. They're frogs from Fawn, specifically the Totally Awesome stamp set, Don't Worry Be Hoppy stamp set, Say What Spring Critters. So I have all these little frog images here. They are stamped onto, I believe, 90-pound cardstock from Recollections, and I stamped them using Fawn jet black ink. Let that dry, and then I'm going in and coloring them with my Copics. I do have my Copic numbers / combinations on screen as I color them. So here on my channel, I do have a little kind of froggy card series going on. I have a link in the description to a playlist full of these froggy card videos. So typically I do color them in green, but for once I decided to shake it up a little, kind of break from the norm here, and hence is the reason why I am coloring my frogs in various kind of Valentine's themed colors. So I have one in a very traditional bubblegum pink, one in kind of a salmon pink, a red one here that I'm coloring right now, and the other frog I will be coloring purple, just to add some variation, keep them different, but also within kind of a color theme for my card here. Now, for this red frog in particular, I would say I had the hardest time blending my colors in together because there was large gaps between the shades. So I did use this tip touch technique where I'm taking my lighter color and tapping it onto the nib of a darker shade. And this will kind of diffuse the inks between the nibs, and then it will allow you to kind of create a more, smooth gradient between the colors when coloring. It's a little less labor, and it really just helps kind of create a smooth finish. So once I had a nice kind of, ombre effect with my shades and my light tones on my little froggy here, I'm going ahead and adding some stippling just to add some interest, make him look more like a little froggy dude. I know maybe this isn't the most accurate frog ever. I don't think they really come in pinks or reds, but I just think the dots add a lot of texture and a lot of fun to my little images. So here I am coloring in these little heart images. These are going to be little Valentines that my frogs have made that they will be mailing in this card. I have a part one of these Froggy Valentine's cards, so go and check that out if you want, if you have the time, So in that card they are making Valentines, and now in this one they're mailing them. It's like a saga, if you will. So that is the kind of story I decided to tell with these cards. So this heart image is from the How You Been Conversation Heart add-on stamp set. I know, a mouthful from Fawn. And I am coloring my little Valentines here in various shades of pink, trying to kind of separate them or color them different colors than my frogs using different markers, just to kind of keep variation going, keep them separate, and add more interest. So working on my background here, I am using the Stitched Scallop Rectangles frame dies. I cut the largest one out of 110-pound cardstock, and I'm going to be ink blending onto that for my little sky here. So I'm starting off with some tumbled glass oxide ink from Ranger, and I am just kind of layering that on the bottom, trying to keep it nice and diffused near the top where I will be blending that into other colors. So here I am taking spun sugar and just lightly diffusing that in between the tumbled glass and moving that upwards. So I have a nice blend going on between my two colors. Next, I am taking Worn Lipstick Distress Oxide inks, and I am blending that on top of my spun sugar here. I am taking this primarily almost all the way to the top, and I'm going to slowly diffuse it more near the bottom to create a good gradient, and then I'm going to make it more opaque near the top, so I have like a lightest to darkest kind of going on. Here I'm taking the picked raspberry, and it is quite dark. It is very magenta, so I'm adding just a little bit near the top, but I'm not adding a whole lot. I don't want it to kind of overpower my card. And then I am taking worn lipstick over that just to blend it out a little bit more and kind of diffuse the color. Once I was happy with my sky, I took some clean water and a clean paintbrush, and I'm going to be splattering that onto my background to create little spritz details, little speckle details, and I'm going to dab that off with a paper towel to remove some of the color. Once again, just adding interest. I'm also taking some of the picked raspberry distress inks, and I am watering those down and splattering them onto my background as well. As you can see here, I just wanted it to be a little bit more pigmented, and I'm just going to add some of that splatter all over just to add some more interest and variation. And I'm repeating that again with some tumbled glass distress ink as well. I am happy with my background. I'm going to go set that off someplace safe to dry. Next, I am taking this mailbox piece. It is cut out of some gray cardstock, and I used the Happy Mail dies from Fawn. So this is the main kind of mailbox piece, and I am just scoring on all of these fold lines that are kind of engraved or embossed when you cut it out using the die, and I'm just forming it to this mailbox shape. So you have about 3 folds here to fold, and I'm just making sure it's all lying flat and lying smooth with my bone folder. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and add some of this Black Soot Distress Oxide ink all over some of the edges, just really lightly, just to once again add some interest and make it not look so flat. So yeah. Next, I'm also taking some of these pieces I have die cut. So it is this little mailbox flag, I guess, that I have die cut in red paper. And then I also have this kind of wooden post for the mailbox to sit on, cut out of brown cardstock. And I am using candied apple and walnut stain just to add some definition and such to my little images here before I start assembling my card. So for one final detail here, I wanted to have some grass at the bottom of my card design so it doesn't look like my images are just suspended in space. So for my grass, I chose a purple kind of glitter cardstock because, I mean, logic doesn't matter anymore if my frogs are, you know, pink and purple. So I am taking this scalloped stitched rectangle, which is the same size as my background, and I'm partially cutting out the bottom where I want my grass to be with my die cutting machine. Next, I am taking this grassy border die from Fawn and just adding some of the grass kind of texture on top of that, cutting it out so that I will have a funky little grass piece. So now we are moving on to kind of just the main assembly of this card base. So I am taking my grass piece I had cut out previously, and I am just using some ATG tape runner to adhere that near the bottom. As you can see, because I used that scallop stitched rectangle, it lines up perfectly, and I think it just looks so clean that way. Next, I am taking my mailbox here and I am opening it so slightly and applying glue to one side and folding it back up again. This is the back piece, so it's not the main kind of pouch. You should be able to have a pouch that you can kind of slip things into if you glue it a certain way. Next, I am just lining up and gluing on my little red flag here I had kind of inked up before. It did make a huge difference, so I would recommend perhaps using other shades than I used. And then I'm also taking this tiny little circle that I cut out of some glitter cardstock off screen, and I'm just gluing that into the center once again just to add some more interest. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to stamp my sentiment onto my card before I make it impossible to do so. This sentiment is from the Love Letter stamp set from Fawn, and I am just lining that up with my little Misty here and stamping it in Fawn lobster ink. Next, I am kind of lining up and gluing down some of my elements, so I have my post glued down here with ATG gun, and I'm just kind of gluing down my little mailbox as well with the tape runner adhesive. Once again, just to add some more definition to my little Valentines, I am taking that same lobster ink as well as this little love stamp from the same Love Letter stamp set and kind of making my Valentines into Valentines. Next, I am gluing down my little froggy dudes I had die cut off screen, so I used the coordinating dies and cut them out. I'm gluing down my little purple frog here, which will be hugging the mailbox, and to glue him down I used tape runner adhesive in the big spots, and then where I couldn't fit the tape runner adhesive I did use some liquid glue just to make sure he's nice and stuck down and isn't going anywhere. I am also using that tape runner adhesive to glue down my big frog here as well as the secondary little frog, and I'm kind of stacking them one on top of the other, like they kind of have to pile on each other in order to actually make it into the mailbox to mail their little Valentines because they're so small. So I am kind of stacking them up like that. You can of course do whatever you feel like doing, it's your card, but I thought this kind of design would be really cute. So I'm also taking some of these Valentines I had kind of stamped and stuff, and I'm just gonna shove them in between my frogs, kind of like they're all holding something, and it's just anarchy trying to mail some of their Valentines. So yeah. So as you can see here, because my mailbox is kind of like a little pouch, I'm able to slip this one little Valentine on the inside, kind of as a little surprise for the recipient. And then I'm also taking this frog holding his Valentine and I'm popping him up using some foam square adhesives. Next, I am just adding some final details using some black glaze gel pen, some white gel pen, and a glitter gel pen. It's a lot, but it adds so much detail, it makes the card really pop, and also cleans up any mistakes I may have made in my coloring because I'm human. Next, I am taking some of these Studio Katya Arctic Breeze pearls, I believe, and I'm adding an odd number to my card base. So just as a reminder to the viewers out there, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'm more than happy to help you. And if you have any questions about kind of the products I'm using, I do have them listed out in the description below, so feel free to check that out or ask any questions. Now, it was around here when I was making the card that I kind of felt like I had some empty space, so I am taking the Say What Pets Spring Edition and I'm just stamping out some little ribbits and some little flies using the lobster ink, and I'm also adding a secondary portion to my sentiment, so it's Have a Hoppy Day, once again from that same Spring Critters Say What stamp set. And I'm stamping that out again in lobster ink with my Misty just to make sure it turns out nice and clean. So I'm assembling my card now. I have this little rectangle cut from the rectangle Stackables from Fawn out of this floral pattern paper, and I'm gluing that onto a card base I had cut and scored off camera, and I'm using the ATG gun for that. And then I'm going to mount my kind of card panel onto this base with some foam squares, and that's about it for this video. So thank you so much for watching. If you want, subscribe, like the video, comment, share it with your friends. Helps the channel out a lot. I also have an Instagram link down below if you want to go follow me there and kind of see what I'm up to. And don't forget to kind of click the link down in the description to go to the next video in our hop of 20 videos and comment on all of them in order to be able to win the giveaway. So thank you for watching and have a lovely day. Bye!